Hey, it's Marco from Pivot, and we've been talking about the new iPads for quite some time. Apple finally released their invitation for their October 22nd, basically stating we have a lot to cover. So that means we are expecting to see a jam-packed Apple event packed with a lot of Apple innovation. We're talking about new iPads, new MacBooks. We're also expecting to see a refresh of the iPod line and Apple TV line. We might even see a brand new iWatch. There's a lot to be talked about on this episode of Pivot News, so let's get at it. So first things first, we are talking about some new iPads to be announced at this October 22nd event. Both iPads are about a year old. We're expecting to see iPad 5 with a new iPad mini design. We're not expecting to see any major changes in terms of Retina display. It's going to be the same display, a new form factor, lighter, thinner, and even smaller than the iPad we have today. The iPad mini 2 will see a new display on the iPad mini. We're hoping to see a Retina display. We're crossing our fingers, hoping to see a Retina display on the new iPad mini. New hardware and a new camera will be present on the iPad mini, and new color options will be across the board on all iPads. The whole line of iPods are also expected to be refreshed. iPod Touch will receive Touch ID along with the iPad 5 and the iPad mini 2. The iPod Nano will be expecting to see some new colors and maybe some tweaks in the iPod Nano software. Not a lot could be said about the iPod Shuffle and now the almost dead iPod Classic. Both those models are low volume units, so we're not expecting to see a lot of change of those iPods since the iPod Touch and iPod Nano are the main sellers in the iPod line. MacBook Pros are expected to see some new Haswell chips underneath those Retina display bodies. We're also expecting to see some new graphics cards on the 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina. The 13-inch is not expected to get its own discrete graphics, but it is expected to get the Intel 5500 HD graphics card. For the non-Retina MacBook Pros, we are expecting to see Apple kill off that product line. We might see the 13-inch MacBook Pro Retina get cut in price. There's been rumors about a 12-inch MacBook Pro Retina. We are really doubting that they will actually go into a new display size. Apple TV is expected to get a refresh in terms of software, especially with the 64-bit processors now going to be debuting on the iPhone 5S and now expected on the iPad 5. We are expecting to see Apple TV get some tweaks in terms of how it interacts with iOS devices. For now, we only have AirPlay that links our MacBooks, our iPods, our iPhones, and iPads to Apple TV, but now we are expecting to see some more app integration, maybe even an app store for the Apple TV software. We are still crossing our fingers to see an Apple television set. That rumor is very long-lived and still unsatisfied by Apple, so hopefully we can see something, but we're not really expecting to see a whole television set at this October 22nd event. We're expecting to hear some more details about the Mac OS X Mavericks launch. We're expecting to see a launch date and a price, more likely $29.99, and sometime in the next 4 to 5 days after the October 22nd event. On the subject of Mac, we're also expected to hear about the Mac Pro pricing and availability. We were introduced to the Mac Pro at Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, and now we're expected to hear about the pricing and availability of the new powerful little monster. Lastly, we did have to include the Apple iWatch. We're crossing our fingers to see some sort of indication that Apple's working on a smartwatch, a lot better than the Samsung Galaxy Gear, we hope, but we are expected or not expected to see the Apple iWatch debuted at this October 22nd event, but you never know, we could see this new iWatch. It'll be running a smaller, slimmed-down version of iOS similar to the iPod Nano. It will be able to hook up to your iPad or iPhone through Bluetooth for some different kind of connection that's local and not over the internet. It will be kind of a little hookup to your iPhone to display messages or missed calls, or it could even host on calls or FaceTime calls if it has a built-in camera. So we're crossing our fingers to see what will happen at this October 22nd event. Regardless, it will be a packed event full of product launches and new news. I'm sure it's going to be a crazy event, so make sure to stay tuned here at PivotPub.com for all the latest Apple news. The event kicks off at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on October 22nd. That's a Tuesday, if you don't know, so make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video.